Hey guys, so this is going to be a totally unplanned kind of sort of rant video about social justice warriors and my experience with the culture of that online and its resistance. So I have been for years now making videos on my problems with feminism. This is something that started like 3 years ago-ish whenever I started posting videos in opposition to the whole atheism plus movement that I just found to be completely ridiculous. But at the same time, I've also been making videos for women's rights and have been doing that for as much time, if not longer, starting back to a video that I did at around the time Todd Aiken was relevant. I don't know if you guys remember who that was, but he's the guy who said that women who are legitimately raped have mechanisms somehow in their body that prevent them from getting pregnant. So if a woman is ever raped and gets pregnant, then in fact she wasn't raped. It wasn't legitimate rape. That was it. That was the terminology that he used. Legitimate rape. So I have kind of been, you know, in this weird area between an anti-feminist and a feminist according to people online. I don't like to stick labels on everything all the time. It's kind of annoying, especially whenever different labels have different meanings according to the different people that you talk to about them. But feminism in particular is one of those touchy subjects for my channel because I have built up an audience of basically opposing views because I take neutral stances on certain things and very strong stances in favor of both things at the same time, if that makes any sense. Because I am very, very much against the social justice warrior culture, this third wave feminism bullshit that you see all of the time, these Tumblr feminists, like, they really get on my, under my skin, they get on my nerves, and that's kind of why I made that stupid feminist interpretive dance video. Like, I just think it's so stupid. It's such bullshit, most of it. And it does promote this type of victim culture that I cannot stand by. It just drives me crazy. But at the same time, there are real issues that come into play. For example, if a politician tries to take away a woman's right to choose, or tries to defund Planned Parenthood, or does something of that sort, like, of course, I'm gonna stand up and make a video, you know, about why I'm not okay with that type of thing, and I'm going to defend women's rights. But it seems to me that every time I make a video defending women's rights, I think people just take that and assume that I am this crazy feminazi, but I don't understand that, because a lot of people who've been watching me for a long time, like, you should know better. If it's a new person, then fine, maybe they don't know my like 4 years of history posting videos against that type of mentality, whatever. But if you've been on my channel for a long time, then you know that that's not me. The last video that I had this problem with was the last video that I posted, the video about Donald Trump saying that he doesn't wait for consent, he just goes for it with women, he kisses them and, quote, grabs them by the pussy. And I made a video because I have made it very clear for a long time in my feelings on Donald Trump. I'm not a fan. You know, and I mentioned this. A lot of people attacked me for being a, quote, social justice warrior, and I got like loads and loads and loads of comments. Now, whenever I responded to this person, a lot of people told me like, listen, it's just the trolls that are the loudest, and I know, and I'm not trying to feed the trolls essentially in this video because it's not really a troll thing. It's kind of a widely held idea that anytime anyone speaks out against any kind of social injustice, they are therefore a social justice warrior. And I kind of fear that because I have been for so long making videos against modern third wave feminism, because I've made so many videos against this mentality of social justice warriors, you know, this constant state of victimhood that they're in, because I've made videos against that, I've kind of built up an audience of people that might actually fall into the category of people that deserve that kind of ridicule. I don't know how far this actually goes on my channel, but from what I've seen, it's actually more of a problem than I was previously aware of. So let it be known right now. I am fully in support of a woman's right to choose. I support Planned Parenthood. I think consent is an important thing, and that is something that I value. So if me having a strong stance in favor of consent, in favor of a woman's right to choose, and supporting organizations that provide these services like Planned Parenthood, if you're really against a person with those ideals, then maybe you shouldn't be following this channel, because those are values that I strongly hold and have held throughout my entire time on YouTube. Another set of principles that I've had throughout my entire time of YouTube include ones that stand against a victim culture of women and any person that always wants to complain about every little thing, that is always up in arms about something. And unfortunately, a lot of modern third wave feminists or whatever, they fall into that category. So as much as I would love to stand behind feminism, which is, you know, equality between genders, as much as I would love to stand by that, it becomes difficult whenever the face of it is just something that I find to be so horrid. But keep in mind that I did just say I have a problem with people who are constantly offended at everything. And what I've kind of found lately is that the most offense that I see online is from people who are the first ones to call someone a social justice warrior just for pointing out a problem that exists. The most offended people are not the social justice warriors, it's the social justice warriors. I'm gonna create that right now. If it hasn't already been made, I don't think it has, but the social justice warriors are way more offended at shit, are way more easy to get triggered by things than anyone else that I've seen. If I seriously sit here and say that consent is important and someone calls me a social justice warrior bitch for saying that, who's the one that's offended where they shouldn't be in that scenario? The person who has a problem with sexual assault, or the person who has problems with the person who has problems with sexual assault? Do you know what I mean? Yes, it can go too far. Yes, I have a problem with that. But sometimes things need to be said. I mean, I still have standards. Am I not allowed to have standards? Like, is it like an anything goes type of culture now? If someone is like blatantly sexist or blatantly racist against someone, you can't say anything because God forbid you're labeled a fucking social justice warrior. That's like the worst label you could ever have. If you ever have a problem with any type of behavior or condemn any type of issue, that's the label that you get. And so like, where do you draw the line? Because some people obviously deserve it. And I think it's not hard. Like, this is what confuses me. Like, in my mind, the line is so clear, like, of whenever someone has a right to complain about something and when they're being ridiculous. For example, a guy says that he doesn't need consent to physically touch another woman sexually. Hey, that seems like something that is good to complain about. That seems like a standard that we should maybe set, that, you know, it's not okay to do. A woman complains because a guy tells her that she should smile more. Like, that's a complaint that I've legitimately heard from people that I know that are feministy and stuff. And like, I hear that and I roll my eyes and it's really annoying, and I consider that type of shit kind of like, come on, like, you're being an SJW. Like, in that scenario, I'm like, oh my God, he told me that I should smile more. Or like, oh my God, I walked down the street and this guy told me I was pretty. What a fucking asshole. Like, you see the difference? Anyway, like I said, on my last video, I got this comment, several comments calling me a social justice warrior, and this is what my response was. I'm gonna read it, and you guys tell me in the comments if you think that this was a good response or a bad response, or if I left something out, or if I said too much. Just let me know your thoughts. This was my answer. See, comments like this frustrate me. I've made numerous videos about why SJW culture pisses me off. I'm not saying men are terrible, I'm saying Donald Trump is terrible. I don't have a problem with men, I have a problem with anyone that says sexual assault is okay. Making sexual contact with another person without their consent isn't funny. If anything, I defended men in this video by saying that they don't need to brag about sexual assault to sound like a man. That's not manly. It should not represent an entire gender. And that's what I was saying in that video. I was talking about how like a lot of people responded to these comments, these lewd comments that he made by saying, haha, boys will be boys and that's a man for you. But like, that's kind of horrible. That sounds like something that a feminist would say, actually. Oh, all men say shit like that. All men make jokes that sexual assault is A-okay. You know, that's a man. Sometimes they just sexually assault people. What can you do? Boys will be boys. I call bullshit on that. Like, you know, like men's rights people should be pissed about that type of shit. Like, no. I don't know. I feel like we went through this phase of like all of these hardcore feminists and social justice warrior type people just taking over the internet, complaining about every little damn thing, and that was the biggest thing that was plaguing the internet. And now, unfortunately, I feel like it's kind of swung back now, as things normally do, and it's going the opposite direction with, as I said before, the social justice warriors that are offended at anyone who ever brings up any kind of social issue, whether or not it's worth discussing. I feel like this might actually silence a lot of people. I mean, could you imagine that being the mentality of people before like, gay marriage was passed, for example? I mean, anytime you were offended by people not having equal rights, somebody might have been like, oh my God, you just complain about everything, you're a social justice warrior, gay people are fine, they don't need to get married. Like, That would have sucked. I don't know, I feel like this is getting too ranty. Like I said, it was an unplanned video. I just saw so many comments like that, and I don't know, I wanted to get your thoughts because this is something that like comes up a lot. Anytime I ever make a video at all about a woman's rights issue in general, I get this type of shit, and it's kind of frustrating to me. So anyways, I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching. Like this video if you liked it. Share it everywhere. All of my social media links are in the description below. And please, I'm really interested, particularly in this video, in the comments, because the discussions I think could be, you know, very mind-opening for a lot of people, myself included. So please leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! Make America great again. Well, it's about time for a new campaign slogan. Trump, Pence, grab America by the pussy again. I love it.